Hey guys, it's Steph. It is the end of November. Can you believe it's already December? And I have so many tulips I need to plant still. I absolutely love planting tulips because after a long winter, I am so cooped up. Last year, our winter was so long and they were absolutely magical. I planted some under my apple trees, 1,000 of them. And some of those blooms were 24 inches tall. And those blooms lasted a long time. So you can check out my tulip tour on that if you'd like. Anyways, I also love bulbs just because they're so small, so you can fit them in around your perennials and shrubs before they come out of dormancy, and they're just going to fill in those bare spots when you're craving them, and then they'll start to fade and your perennials and shrubs can take over. Just make sure you put them in a full sun area. And if you are a rookie to a seasoned veteran, you'll be able to grow tulips. They're super easy to grow. There's about every color you can choose from. There's so many unique, fun double bloom varieties that kind of remind me of peonies. There are a few things to be aware of though. They hate wet, soggy soil, so make sure you put it in an area where that soil is going to drain. They can handle moisture, that's fine. When I planted them under my tulip trees, we have pretty wet, heavy clay soil. I was actually worried that they weren't going to be able to pop up out of the ground because there were so many rocks, but they were just fine. I had put some in a container pot in front of my greenhouse. I had two big containers about 24 inches tall and wide. They had drain holes, but we had received so much moisture that year. I should have covered the top of them with something that would keep it out once they were moist, but in spring they didn't pop up and they smelled terrible. The other container drained better for some reason and had beautiful blooms, but yeah, they just were toast, so make sure you are very aware of that. The next thing you need to know about tulips is they like to be below 55 degrees for up to 12 to 14 weeks, and they're only cold hardy down to zone 3 up to zone 7. So if you live in that zone 8 or 9, it's going to be too warm for you. You can still buy pre-chilled tulips or stick them in your refrigerator and then put them out in the ground when those temperatures are right. If they don't get cold enough, they're not going to produce that bloom. They're cold hardy down to zone 3 up to zone 7. So if you live in a zone 2, you're at risk of them just getting way too cold. So you can put them in some containers in a garage area where it might stay 32 degrees or above, or somewhere where it stays cool but not too cold. So no matter what zone you live in, you can plant tulips. You just have to get a little bit more creative. I also want to share a story about my mom. This is something to take into consideration. So you have tulips that bloom from early spring until late spring. Last year, she was so excited to have some yellow and purple tulips bloom together, give a nice dramatic display. But what she didn't know is she bought some yellow varieties that came out in early spring and her purple ones came out in late spring. So as the yellow ones faded, the purple ones came out and they didn't bloom at the same time. A few other things to be aware of is they are not deer resistant. I live in deer country, so the minute they start popping up out of the ground, I have to spray them. I have a video on the mixture I use. It works every time. It's just eggs, milk, and cayenne pepper. There is one thing about the late spring blooming ones. It gets a little bit hotter in my climate, so the tulips might not last as long depending what our temperatures are like. They do not like the heat. My last tip is just make sure you plant them deep enough, around 6 to 8 inches deep. One year I didn't plant them deep enough. The natural erosion kind of made them pop out of the ground. The deer and your rodents and critters can get to them a little bit more easily. In addition, the deeper they are, the more insulated and snug they're going to be. They're going to be a little bit more warm. So I think that's all I want to cover as far as getting success. So the only tool I'm using is this drill and driver, and then I've got an auger that I bought from Lowe's. This is just the way to go. This is only like $20. I use this if I'm going to be scattering them around. You see all of my tulips. There are a lot of these tulips. This is going to be kind of sucky, I'm not going to lie. Make sure you have an extra battery on hand. I'm going to burn through this pretty quickly just because I have so many tulips that I'm planting right here. I think I have probably around 500. Then I've got some bulb tome right here. This is high in phosphorus, which bulbs love. So I don't typically use it in my soil because I have a lot of natural phosphorus. If you want to give it an extra boost, you can. But they've usually stored up enough nutrients from the past year that you're okay. So if I had known how rocky this area was going to be, it was not expected. I thought it was going to be a much softer. This is probably the toughest area I've ever worked in. I would have done it totally different. I would have tilled up this entire area before I planted anything, loosened up some of those rocks, and then I would only plant them about 2 to 3 inches deep and then cover them with a bunch of topsoil, some compost, some bark mulch to make sure they're 6 inches deep. This would save me This will save you so much time and tears. It has been so difficult and it's been hard on the auger. I have so many little rocks and it's torquing on me because it gets stuck and I've really hurt my hand. So you've got to be careful and just take these things into consideration. Yay, I'm finished. I can move on. I'm not going to tell you what colors I have in here. I kind of want it to be a surprise, but it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. It's going to be very full. So if you want to keep updated on that, make sure you hit the notification bell and subscribe so you know when I highlight all of these beautiful tulips. So this is where I planted all of the tulips that I'm going to cut and bring inside. I had some Status and some Millennium Medusa Allium in here that haven't filled in yet, and a lot of them are just pink varieties. I have some beautiful double bloom varieties in here, some pink varieties, some unique tulips that maybe you haven't seen before. So right here is my back porch. I put some unique varieties in here, the Labelle Opaque. So this is going to fill in this entire area. I don't have any shrubs or perennials in here yet. I'm going to be putting some Firelight Tidbits, but I've got some Raspberry Sorbet Violas. They're starting to freeze finally. And then I've got some tulips that I planted right here. Some beautiful, I guess it's kind of an orange variety with some dark purples, some white tulips, and then right there, some more of those orangey pink tulips that are going to go with my Spring Goom, a perennial that I just transplanted right there. So this is gonna be such a fun area. This is where I hang out the most. And I'm gonna mirror some tulips right there along with this. So I have tulips everywhere. So let's move to the front where I'm going to be planting a bunch of Menton tulips. I'm going to be planting in masses. It is going to be so much easier to plant these than the ones between my obelisk. This soil is really soft. I'm going to be trenching it. So if you're going to be planting the same color, you just want a huge mass of them, trenching is the way to go. You can plant them pretty close together, 1 to 2 inches apart. I would recommend 2 inches apart and make sure those tips are pointed up. So I've got a tiller. I'm going to trench it a little bit. Guys, I bought so many more tulips this year than I thought I did. So I will just start layering these out. It's going to be so much fun. It's going to probably take me 5 minutes to lay about 200 tulips. This method is so much easier, especially when your soil is as beautiful as this. Some flower beds are just a lot easier than other ones. I am officially done planting my tulips for the year. It is going to be so beautiful in spring. I cannot wait. You can still plant tulips. It's not too late if your soil isn't frozen yet. We're not going to get snow for at least a week, so I can still plant bulbs over the next 3 or 4 days. Sometimes the tulips go on sale right now, so tulips.com is where I've bought most of my tulips, and they've been great. Anyways, I hope you guys like this video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting my channel, and have a great day gardening. I'll talk to you later. Bye.